What's up, YouTube? This is GalacticGod. I'm coming at you now with another episode of Yugioh Chat. This is for Sunday, October 18th, 2015. Today, I'm proud to bring a very special guest on board. A lot of you guys might know him from the Next Great Yugituber Competition, as well as the really great tournament that he put on earlier this year for the Yugituber Grand Championship. Of course, I'm talking about Cimoooooooo.
What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooooo. Thanks so much to GalacticGod for having me on this week's episode. I think we're going to have a good time.
Hopefully, we'll have a good time. There's been a lot of crazy developments within the game over this last week, so we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off with the Yu-Gi-Oh! News. And probably one of the bigger things that's happened this week, of course, is Konami trickling out all these new Kozmo cards. What do you think about getting 5 new Kozmo cards in the next set?
I'm actually really excited. Kozmo's a really fun archetype. Some of them are really good, like Kozmo Wicked Witch is just a really solid level 4. Dark Destroyer is absolutely insane alongside Strawman, because Strawman actually enables a 2-card 14,000 damage OTK, which is pretty nuts. And then Light Sword's okay, and the last one, Dogfighter's really cool because like you can go and have 6,300 damage on board by your next turn if you get Dogfighter out before your opponent's standby phase, so that's pretty cool.
What do you think is going to be the best card from the new ones that they're releasing? Do you think it's the Wicked Witch, or do you like Strawman better, Dogfighter? What do you think is going to have the most impact on the deck?
Strawman is, in my opinion, like absolutely incredible. Like I said, a 2-card. It's specifically it's a 13,800 damage OTK, but that's insane. And then Dark Destroyer is also really good as well because now the deck is actually going to have disruption plays during the opponent's turn, which it was kind of lacking before, and that's why it needed traps. But now that we have Dark Destroyer, it kind of mitigates that. And plus 3k, combine that with like limiter removal for 6k, that's going to be nuts.
It is pretty strange, I think, that Konami's releasing 5 new cards for the archetype, as well as the 5 that we got from the last set. Normally when they do a TCG exclusive, we don't really see such a big amount in the second set after the release. Do you think this is going to carry on through the 3rd and 4th sets for this new archetype, or do you think they're going to start really limiting the amount of new cards for it?
I hope so, and at the same time I don't, because already like this archetype support is phenomenal. So if they keep giving us more and more of this support of this level, then that's fantastic. But at the same time, it might just turn into a format where like Kozmo is just like this deck that like can't be beat. But there's a lot of interesting decks coming out and a lot of interesting cards as well. So we'll see. I like that they're supporting an exclusive archetype like Burning Abyss. You know, same thing. So it's really good. And
because of all the new Kozmo card hype, Farm Girl has definitely skyrocketed up in price. What do you think about the new price tag for Farm Girl, and if you're wanting to pick up the deck, just how much it's going to cost you?
I think I'm glad that I have my playset already. But more specifically, it's really hard to say because I feel like it's on the hype train right now. I would say that if you are interested in picking up the deck, I would say probably wait it out for a bit, kind of let the prices settle out. Maybe go back in like a month, or actually no, the new cards will probably be out by then. I'd say like maybe, it's hard to say. I would say really wait for the new cards to come out and see where the deck is, because if the deck doesn't perform on a competitive level,
just see the impact they're going to have, or?
Exactly, yeah. If the deck doesn't perform on a competitive level, there's so many other good decks coming out soon that if Kozmo doesn't perform, the prices are going to drop.
Yeah, I can't see Kozmo not at least keeping up with some of the other decks. I mean, it's hard to say with the future Yu-Gi-Oh! And an unknown time frame for the ban list.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, they could, on the next ban list, for example, I don't know if they're going to do it, but they could, you know, hypothetically hit Emergency Teleport to 1 or something, which would substantially hinder the deck's ability. So in doing something like that, that would definitely cause a price drop just because of sheer panic that the deck's, you know, not going to be as good as it could be. But in terms of a new ban list coming out, I really have no idea. They said, you know, no more dates so that people can't complain, even though people still are. I just hope we get one because this format's a little bit stale and I'd like to see it get mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, with the new cards coming out, it should hopefully mix up the format a little bit, but typically, the ban list is, what really shakes things up.
Oh, definitely. Especially with YCS San Jose coming up. I know a lot of people are frustrated because they can't test for the event, because if there's a new list that's going to drop, like, people are going to be out of luck because the format could be completely different for that event. So I know there's some frustration there. And I think that's where a lot of it sets in, is because people just want to prepare for the events the best they can. And with the inability of not being able to know what the list is going to be, I think that's where those frustrations arise.
Well, Farm Girl was actually not the only card that saw a pretty interesting price increase this week. What do you think about the Mist Valley Apex Avian actually jumping up in price?
I'm kind of torn because I know Magispectors love Apex Avian, and that's what's causing the hype to go up. But some versions of the deck don't run it, so I really, it's kind of hit or miss. If I had some, I'd be selling them because it's it's whatever. It's this really old card that's actually starting to find some relevance. I would just be dropping them.
You think that now is the time to get rid of them before before people kind of catch on that it's not going to be as powerful as people think? You think it's all just hype surrounding the deck?
The thing is, we don't really know, because as strong of a deck as Magispectors was in Japan, we don't know how good it's going to be here because our meta is entirely different. There's a lot of things that we have that they don't. I mean, we were just talking about Cosmos. That's one of them. There's a lot of different variables just to take into account with that. I would definitely just sell them. I don't think it's worth keeping.
Konami also revealed to us Solemn Notice, the next Solemn card. And
I am super hyped for Solemn Notice, and if you don't know what this card does, being able to pay 1,500 life points for either your choice of Divine Wrath or Black Horn of Heaven is absolutely worth it. And the fact that you could run this card in 3, this card is going to be meta-breaking. Not meta-breaking, but it's definitely going to have an impact when it does get released. I am super excited for this card. This is Solemn Brigade 2.0 coming out.
Well, keeping on with a little bit of hype and price increases, we saw Ptolemaeus get a little price jump, but that was, of course, because of the announcement of Cyber Dragon Infinity finally getting released to the TCG over in Breakers of Shadow, coming out in just a few months, really. We're going to have this card that a lot of players have been, patiently awaiting, or maybe not so patiently.
Or dreading.
And a lot of they're dreading. The other valid player base just definitely hoping that Konami would never release this. This is similar to how a lot of players reacted to Norden before it ultimately came out here in the TCG. A lot of people thought that it was just going to destroy the game, and that a lot of people didn't want to see it, and they thought it should never be released. What is your take on Cyber Dragon Infinity?
Well, you have to be objective with it, because some things you have to account for is that Infinity is going to be coming out in the same set as Solemn Notice. And Solemn Notice is actually an answer to Cyber Dragon Infinity. The only other immediate answer to this card really being Breakthrough Skill. And so the fact that Ptolemaeus, the ultimate rare, is almost approaching $40 at the moment, and I think the ultras are 25 to 30. And the fact that Cyber Dragon Nova is almost a $10 card right now just shows how incredibly powerful this card is. This is probably one of the best cards that's ever been printed in a very, very long time. This is something that you definitely need to do your research on and know how to beat it, because this is going to be relevant. It might not be meta-breaking like it was in Japan, because there's a lot of other different factors, but it's definitely going to make an impact when Breakers of Shadow comes out.
One of the things I saw people talking about was how, they're assuming that Konami is going to make this a secret rare, which would definitely make sense, but this is going to be in the set where we are now going to be able to get a secret rare out of every 12 packs.
Right.
So if they're maintaining with just, the same low amount of secrets that they normally produce in a set, you should actually be able to get Cyber Dragon Infinity a lot easier. Even though it is a secret rare, you should still be able to get it relatively easy compared to secret rares of the past. Do you think this is going to have an effect on the price, or do you think that it's still going to be a pretty expensive card?
I'm usually the optimist, but I gotta play devil's advocate. Look at Trishula and High Speed Riders. That card was nowhere to be found, and they could easily short print Cyber Dragon Infinity just as easily as they did with Trishula. So even if it is a secret rare and you're getting it 1 in every 12, if there's only one Cyber Dragon Infinity every case or so, that's not going to be good, and that's not going to help the price whatsoever. I like the rumor going around that people think it's going to be a rare, and if that were the case, I would just cry of laughter, because that would be the biggest insult, if they just made this card a rare.
That would remind me kind of when the Elemental Dragons, or the Dragon Rulers, if you will, were released, and everybody thought they were going to be ultras or secrets.
That's
and
true.
then they were all rares, and the babies were in the set too, and they were all common.
Yeah.
And basically made them, relatively pretty easy to get.
Yeah.
So do you think Ptolemaeus' price is going to hold pretty steady, or do you think that it's going to drop, or do you think it's actually going to skyrocket even higher once we get Cyber Dragon Infinity out?
Again, it's just going through a hype cycle because they just announced this from the date we're recording this video. It was only a couple days ago that Infinity is going to get released, so people are just hoarding their Ptolemaeuses and their Novas because they know that when this card drops that they can sell that card for even more. So it'll go back down, and then since Breaker of Shadows has come out for a fair bit of time, I believe it's like 3 months or so, but so it'll settle back down, but it'll steadily go back up once we get closer to the set. But I mean, if you have some and you're not using them, again, sell them, because the amount of money that those cards are worth, like, it's totally worth it.
While I have Cimoooooooo here on my channel, I also wanted to bring up some Yugitubing things. I wanted to talk to him about the Next Great Yugituber Competition that he participated in. Just kind of wanted to see what you thought of that competition when you were going through it. Do you think that it helped you as a person or as your channel grow when you're going through it? What kind of memories do you have looking back at it now that it's been a little while since you participated in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, big shout outs to Underworld6667 or Dan Connell for hosting that. I really wish he'd host another one. So everyone go spam his channel and tell him to host another one already. But I definitely think it kickstarted my channel because it really shows you the importance of networking and just how effective it is in just helping grow a channel. And I think that's probably the best tip to give to any like aspiring Yugituber or YouTuber in general, is that being able to network and just get in those you know, inner circles of just other people is really just key to just your success. And I mean, it's definitely affected me. I mean, Dennis P Bunny, I mean, I met him through the Next Great Yugituber. I travel with him to events now all the time, and he's become like one of my closest friends, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh wise. And it's just, you know, it's just, I've met these people. RJB0 as well. I mean, he's kind of since school started, he's kind of gone on hiatus, but I still talk with him every now and then because I mean, he's just a really cool guy. And I mean, these are things that if I had not done that competition, it never would have happened. So I couldn't be more grateful for that opportunity.
From that, we're able to actually come up with the Yugituber Grand Championship Tournament. This was definitely an awesome event that I was able to participate in. I probably had a lot more fun doing this than any of my other collaborations with any other Yugitubers in general. It was just real fun. It was a real fun process, actually, just going through the tournament and dueling people and watching you know, other Yugitubers duel. What do you think about the Grand Championship, as it's almost been a year, I guess, since it originally happened?
So the Grand Championship was actually something I came up with when I first started my channel. I believe Gage or Nimnim, he actually might still have the message that I sent to him asking if he wanted to like get on board with this idea. And he was for it, but like I was like this unknown Yugituber, and he's like, if you can get everyone on board, like sure, but like no one else would like even talk to me because I was just like, you know, this like no name that only had like 20 subs. But I mean, once like after the Next Great Yugituber, you know, I got some popularity, people started to recognize me, and then once I came up with like I went for it again. I'm like, you know what, this needs to happen. People have been asking for us to do this for like I can't even tell you how long. Let's just do it. And so I put it out there. I got a bunch of response. I mean, GalacticGod, I mean, we got so many popular people to just participate, and it was so much fun. And I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. That was my ultimate goal, was just to make something just that everyone could enjoy, and it was tons of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we've had people kind of talk about doing something like this for a long time, but I don't think people understand the amount of organization that goes into just doing any kind of collab.
Oh my god.
Let alone doing a collab
so much
with 32 other Yugitubers, or 31, because I guess you were in the tournament as well. But just trying to coordinate is a massive process. I used to do like a Yugituber Anonymous series on my channel, and just trying to get, you know, people to collab on a timely fashion with just like 6 of us or something gave me such a headache that I didn't want to even do the series anymore. And you know, it's so hard. And when I saw that you put it all together, and it wasn't even just the Yugitubers that were participating in the tournament, you also had to get them to help commentate with you, and there was other ones outside of the tournament that were commentating as well, and it's just this massive undertaking, and you really did accomplish like quite a lot with that. I mean, it was very impressive to see it actually all come together, and it flowed, you know, relatively pretty smooth, I thought, through most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely had some hiccups within there, but
we definitely had hiccups.
that is very true. But overall, I thought, you know, the experience was pretty good, and I know that you're gearing up for a new Yugituber Grand Championship, and you had what's called a summer qualifier for some of the subscribers to Yugitubers. You want to talk about what exactly that qualifier was and how that relates to the next Yugituber Grand Championship?
Yeah, sure. To quickly go back to what you're saying about the collaboration aspect of it, though, like, it's, to put in perspective for everyone, just getting like 2 of us to collaborate on something can just be it can just be hard, because I mean, we're all really busy, we all work or have school or just have so much going on in our lives. Just having 2 people collaborate on something can be hard. So imagine just doing that for 32 people all working together to try to make something like that happen. But that was for you guys. That was ultimately what I kept preaching on, was that, you know, we need to do this for the fans, and everyone just helped me out. So I just want to, you know, just take a second to thank all the Yugitubers who helped in getting that done. But for the qualifier, yes. So I had everyone do feedback from the Grand Championship on what they would like to see in the next one, and the biggest and most prominent response was that they wanted the opportunity to compete with the Yugitubers that they watch, like, you know, GalacticGod, myself, Mega Capital G, you know, things like that. So I came up with the idea of hosting qualifiers, and so the summer one actually just completed. Shout outs to Alex Sanchez in Texas, who was the winner of that. And yeah, the fall or autumn qualifier is actually going to be coming up here relatively soon, probably in the next week or so. So if you're interested in competing, just stick around to my channel. I'm sure GalacticGod will probably post something about it as well, and come compete for your chance to play with all the Yugitubers.
So what do you think for the next Grand Championship? What are some of the changes that you're hoping to kind of implement into that? I know when I was talking to Mega Capital G about it, he was saying something like maybe each round we should have the opportunity to play a different deck that we're kind of known for, or just change things up every round so it doesn't stay so stagnant. So that way, if like a ban list changes midway through the tournament, we can adjust that way. Is that something you're thinking about maybe changing to, or do you have any other ideas of how you're wanting to run the championship once it gets to time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, this is kind of my baby, so I want to like give it the respect it deserves. And I actually, as we're recording this, I have a stack of paper sitting right next to me that is of all the ideas I've had for this Grand Championship. And one of the things is I want to regionalize the Yugitubers. So I want to, for example, have a European bracket. So all the European Yugitubers can all play against each other, so that they're in at least in a somewhat similar time zone for their convenience sake. And then it's kind of cool to see who's kind of like the king of Europe, like when you're going into like the final like area, like the final 4, let's say, of the Grand Championship. So that's one aspect. You know, same thing with like America, things like that. Mega Capital G does have a good point. I haven't decided how I want the format to be, whether it's like a custom format like I did for the summer qualifier, whether it's like the no meta rule, or like, I'm going to come up with something really good, and I'm definitely going to discuss it with everyone, but it's definitely, I have a lot of good ideas. And the last big piece of feedback that I definitely want to say is that the duel videos will definitely be shorter, because in the first like 10 or 15 videos, I did not edit them whatsoever, and some of these duel videos were like close to an hour in length. But over time, I started editing them down for viewers' sake, because I know that no one has the time to watch that. And then now the average length of a duel video is anywhere from like maybe 10 to like at most maybe like 30 minutes now, with the editing technique I developed to make it flow smoothly and just make it really good for viewers. So definitely it'll be good. I'll definitely give you guys updates as soon as I decide to implement them, and stick around for the spring, because that's when the 2016 Grand Championship is going to be.
Alright, so next up I want to answer a couple of the Q&A questions. And the first one comes from Tristan, who asks, I hear you like to visit Frankenstein's, but I never see you when I go, which is quite often. How often do you go? Now, I used to go to Frankenstein's all the time, like every Wednesday and as many Saturdays as I could. But unfortunately, because of the way my work schedule has kind of sorted itself out, I am unable to get to Frankenstein's either on Wednesday or Saturday right now, which is definitely quite sad, because I love going out to Frankenstein's. For those of you guys who don't know what it is, out here in Southern California, we have a place called Frankenstein's, and it's kind of like this Yu-Gi-Oh! Shangri-La, if you will. It is this indoor kind of swap meet, if you will, but there is a ton of different Yu-Gi-Oh vendors here where you can go, you can buy, you can trade, you can sell cards, you can participate in tournaments while you're there, or just random duels with other people. It is really a great place to interact, mingle, network, and just pick up new cards that you're looking to get. And if you live out here in Southern California and you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, you definitely are aware of this place. And hopefully, once I start my new career, I should have some more free time up to where I'm able to attend Frankenstein's on a much more regular basis. But until that time, it's just something that I'm not able to do. And so the last question today, Lee asks, GalacticGod, will you be posting any more of your real-life duels, as I find these very helpful for deck ideas and new plays that I want to make with my decks? Basically, this is kind of the same scenario that's happened with my journeys to Frankenstein's, if you will. My schedule is just really out of whack with that of my friends that actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I have a bunch of coworkers that play Yu-Gi-Oh! But unfortunately I can't bust out with my tripod in the break room and try to record those duels. It's just a little too unprofessional. So with any luck, like with Frankenstein's, hopefully my schedule will be opening up and it'll be a little bit easier for me to connect with a lot of my friends that I can actually make duel videos with. But until then, it's kind of the same scenario. I just don't have the availability to actually get some of these things made. Alright YouTube, and there you have it. That was this week's episode of Yugioh Chat. Remember, if you would like to ask me a question in next week's video, leave it down in the comment section below, and I might be able to answer it then. I'd also like to give a big thanks to my special guest, Cimoooooooo, for coming on to this week's episode.
Thank you so much, GalacticGod. I really appreciate the opportunity. If you guys want to come on and check out my channel, I would really love to have you over there. I mean, not other than the Yugituber Grand Championship, but I also have plenty of other content that you'll probably enjoy.
That's right. I'm going to have a link to his channel down in the description below. So definitely I encourage you guys, if you've never seen a video from Cimoooooooo, you are missing out, and you should go check him out and see everything that he has to offer. Alright, you guys, and that's going to pretty much do it. That's all the Yu-Gi-Oh! For the week. This is GalacticGod, out.